And now for our candle lighting, we invite Barbara Bachman to lead us as we welcome the Sabbath. So Barbara, you're gonna have to unmute.
Yes, I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself. Which happens. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta V'otanu kidashta mikol hamim b'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabela. Shamor b'zachor, v'gibor adonai. Ishmiyanu el meyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad. Hashem lo tiferet v'li tfilah. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekalela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekalela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu b'necha, ki hi litvor ha'beracha. Mirosh mikan yesucha, sof ma'aseh v'machshava tefila. Lecha dodi,
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We're going to continue with this reading from Ma'ariv Aravim. I'll read the first paragraph, and then please join me in the second paragraph. Even though we're all muted, I can see your lips moving, and I know that you're praying with me. O God, where can I find you? Your glory fills the world. Behold, I find you in the mind free to sail by its own star, in words that spring from the depth of truth, where a scientist toils to unravel your world's secrets, where an artist makes beauty in your world, where men and women struggle for freedom, among the lonely and the poor, the lowly and the lost, wherever noble deeds are done. Together,
I find you in the merry shouts of children at play, in the mother's lullaby as she rocks her baby to sleep, in the sleep that falls on an infant's eyes, in the smile that falls on sleeping lips, and in the child as she grows to embrace a world of wonders, a world of fun and light, of laughter, dreams, radiance, and love. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele Asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom al levavecha V'shinantam levanecha V'dibarta bam V'shivtecha b'beitecha ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Help us, O God, to lie down in peace, but teach us that peace means more than quiet. Remind us that if we are to be at peace at night, we must take heed of how we live by day. Grant us the peace that comes from honest dealing, so that no fear of discovery will haunt our sleep. Rid us of resentments and hatred, which rob us of the peace we crave. Liberate us from enslaving habits, which disturb us and give us no rest. May we inflict no pain, bring no shame, and seek no profit by another's loss. May we so live that we can free the whole world with dignity. May we commit no act during the day that will bring us remorse at night. May we lie down in peace tonight and awaken tomorrow to a richer life. And now we are going to join with the rendition of Hashki Venu, two voices joining as one.
Be הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ולדורם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ולעולם. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון, לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון, לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, tasim leolam.
We take a few moments for our own silent meditations.
Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Israel. Amen.
We now continue with our Misha Berach prayer, our prayer for healing. We think of our loved ones, those members of our community who are in need of healing. If you'd like to mention the name of someone you're thinking of at this time, please enter their name in the chat box, and we will be sure to hold their names up in prayer. Let's continue together with Misha Berach. We are thinking of and wishing a refuah shlema to Louis Abelach, Evan Bin, Joe Brickman, John Conway, Mark Edelstein, Brian Edelstein, Mark Enfinger, Danielle Heyman Feist, Linda Fine, Eric Fisk, Buddy Green, Vicky Hano, Joan Keller, Fran Kipling, Lori Cattleman, Hank Corin, Wendy Sugarman Krasnoff, Elsa Mikosh, Miriam Marins, Elaine Miller, Carolee Pizzuti, Fred Paniski, Janet Polfrey, Jane Rifkin, Jess Rifkin, Rhoda Ross, Ted Ross, Cal Simon, Leah Slavinsky, Dr. Cindy Steinman, Pete Tanner, Rhoda Weinberg, Janet White, and Louis Ispitz. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's great to see everyone. It's always nice to be able to welcome and enjoy Shabbat together. We're going to begin this evening with a little bit of a pop quiz. Treif or not treif? Kosher or unkosher? You tell me. Can everyone see that? Give me a thumbs up. You got it? Good. Okay. So first we have our cow. And in the chat box, you can play along if you would like. Kosher or not kosher for the cow? We're going to start off easy. Treif, lo treif. Of course, we know that the cow is generally speaking kosher. Some cuts, not so much, but the cow itself is a kosher animal. Very nicely done. Next, we have a chicken, another easy one, another softball. Chicken, kosher, not kosher. Especially in Bubby's soup, very much kosher. Some matzo balls, it's a good time had by all. Now, oh, we got our little piggy here. Little piggy ran all the way home, but maybe not to a kosher home, because the piggy is, of course, treif, not kosher. And then a duck. What about a duck? Is a duck kosher? To the delight of all Jews who love Chinese food, duck is indeed kosher. You can't have the pork fried rice, but you can have the Peking duck. Okay, hodu, a little turkey. Yay or nay on the turkey? Yay on the turkey, yes. Turkey is fine. Thanksgiving is saved. And now this big sea cockroach, also known as a lobster. Lobster. No, not so much. I see some thumbs down for lobster. My grandfather, God bless him, he would never have lobster in the house. But if he went out to eat to a Chinese restaurant, that shrimp and lobster sauce is the first thing to come out. The lobster. It's not kosher in the home, but Chinese food, and it's okay. I don't think the Torah makes that distinction. We have lots of other animals here. Lion. Sorry, you can't eat a lion. You can't eat a monkey, either. Deer. Yes, deer is good. Rabbit. Sorry, no rabbit. Who'd want to eat a little rabbit anyway? But still. One of my favorites, I'm going to skip down a little bit. I think we actually had this one week. A giraffe. Is a giraffe kosher?
I would assume yes.
And the answer is sort of. Technically speaking, a giraffe can be kosher because it does chew the cud, which we can get to in a minute, and the hoof is a split hoof. But the problem with a giraffe is that you cannot kosher slaughter the giraffe because its neck is too long. And it's really impossible to figure out where the neck begins and the body begins. So you actually can't kosher slaughter a giraffe. So the answer is no, even though yes. We're going to end on that one, on the giraffe. But we can mention in the chat box, if you know, we're going to review it in a moment, of why certain animals are kosher or not kosher according to biblical law. What's the designation for, let's say, a mammal? What makes a mammal kosher versus not kosher? You can add it in the chat box if you know. Whether it chews the cud and whether it has the right hoof, a true hoof. That makes it kosher. Some have one or the other, but in order for it to be considered kosher in terms of the biblical context, it needs to have both. What about our sea creatures? What's the deal with our sea creatures? What do they need? You can add it in the chat box if you know. And that would be fins and scales. Fins and scales. There we go. Denise got that for us. Very nice. Fins and scales. And what about birds? What's the deal with birds? The answer is the Bible actually doesn't tell you what the deal with bird is. It just lists the birds that are tasty and the ones not so much that you can't eat, okay? Now, if one looks at the list of birds, one can see certain patterns emerge, and birds of prey in particular seem to be out. Whether they're birds that are more domestic, more vegetarian, those seem to be okay. But birds like a vulture or a hawk, are not allowed to be eaten according to Jewish law. This is a long intro into the question of kashrut. Now, you might have thought, Rabbi, why am I talking about kashrut? Wasn't that all the way in Leviticus? Yes, but it makes a surprise appearance once again in Deuteronomy, because we get this repetition of law. Deuteronomos, the second law that we get in Deuteronomy, a repetition of some of the things we had in earlier parts of the Torah. And so how we eat makes a big appearance once again in this Torah, but in a different context. Deuteronomy, this is our portion, this week, Parshat Ra'eh. It talks about law, but I think it focuses on something very special, which is the meaning of community. How do we create community in the midst of chaos? How do we create community that is separate and distinct from other people? And that is through having a certain set of laws and principles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up some more text for us. Since by now you all know I like a little bit of text for our Torah discussions. And so we're going to do a little bit of that. I promise we won't read all of this. But our Torah portion, Parshat Ra'eh, gives us very early on, these are the laws and rules that you must carefully observe in the land that the eternal God of your ancestors is giving you to possess as long as you live on earth. So here we are, once again, remember, right ready to enter the land of Israel. We're so close, but we need to know how we're going to live, how we're going to create society when we get into the land of Israel, because as much as we have bonded in our 40-year schlep through the wilderness, some really good bonding, powerful moments together, it's got to carry over when we get into the land. We have to build society. And so here Moses, I think, is giving us some ideas on what does it take to bring a community together. And so some of these laws are going to refer to how we worship in a part of the Torah that's a little bit rough in terms of the reading. I'm not going to tell you no. Some parts of the Torah are more quotable than others when it comes to, polite company. But here we have a prohibition, pretty vehement prohibition against idolatry. You must destroy all of the sites at which the nations you are to dispossess worship their gods, whether on lofty mountains or on hills or under any luxuriant tree. Tear down their altars, smash their pillars, put their sacred posts to the fire, cut the images of their gods, obliterating their name from that site. Not exactly warm and fuzzy. Certainly, again, a very strict prohibition here. Do not worship the eternal your God in like manner, but only look to the site that the eternal your God will choose amidst all your tribes as God's habitation to establish God's name there. In other words, go to temple here with a capital T. You're going to have a temple. It's going to be built in Jerusalem. And there you're going to schlep. You're going to bring all your sacrifices, all your offerings to the temple. And there you're going to pray. Or at least what in their times was the same as prayer, which was the offering of sacrificial worship, some music, a little barbecue. It was a good time, I think. But that's what we're going to do all together. Centralization of worship. We're all going to come together and worship in the same manner. You'll see a little later, same idea. Don't bring them anywhere you want. You can't go to any place to have these sacrifices. You have to go to the place that God is going to show you, the place that God is going to choose. A little later in the portion, we're going to get another little note on how we worship. Observe the month of Aviv and also offer a Passover sacrifice to the eternal your God. For it was in the month of Aviv at night that the eternal your God freed you from Egypt. The rest of chapter 16 lays out the calendar, different holidays we're going to observe together. When we worship together, when we have the same sets of religious ideals, it is one way of creating community. But that's not all. A little bit more. We covered this in the beginning. How we eat matters, right? How we eat, what we eat, why we eat. It makes a difference. No blood, no partaking of blood. That is life, and you must not consume the life with the flesh. You can't do it. And here we went through the animals, right? Now you'll notice in the Torah itself, it tells you that they are unclean. It doesn't really tell you why they're unclean. It doesn't really tell you why you can't eat them, just that they are unclean for us. And one can argue whether maybe it's about health, Maybe you couldn't have a raw piece of pork chop laying in the sun too often. Then you eat it, you get sick. Oh, treif, it's not good. It's going to make you throw up. I got to tell you, raw chicken, raw beef isn't going to do much for you either. So I'm not sure if it was really about health, about generalized health, even nowadays. I think some of you heard me make this comment before, that my generalized health, if I have a huge corned beef sandwich on some nice rye bread with some latkes on the side, it might not do much for my general health. It could be kosher, but maybe not healthy. Scallops, broiled scallops, you live forever. Very healthy comparatively. So it can't be about generalized health. It has to be about something else. And what I think it's about is, again, this idea of community. When we eat together, when we have restrictions on what we can and cannot eat, it helps create community. Because when you eat with the same people, you get closer to them. Think of who we have lunch with, who we have dinner with. That's our community. In better days, of course, and then we're not more isolated. We create community by going out to someone's house, having dinner with them, going out to a restaurant. If you can't eat with someone, you can't really create community with them in the same way. Now we're going to skip all this good food stuff, and not only about the rituals, right, we're going to talk about, but also our ethics, right, our values. Shared values is a really big measure of what it means to be in community. Here we have giving, right, how we give. We have to tithe, right, and we're going to make sure that those who don't have access to the food, the Levites, the stranger, the fatherless, the widow in your settlements, they're going to come and eat, okay? So we're going to have a commandment about giving here, because that is how we create community, is that we observe ethical laws, right? And we observe the same sort of rules for everybody. If there's a needy person among you, right, don't harden your heart. Don't shut your hand against your needy kinsman. Open your hand, right? And lend him sufficient for what he needs. You can't give out of a closed hand. You give with an open hand, right? And so that's what we have here. So we see all of these different ideas that the Torah is giving us on how we create community as an Israelite society. And I believe as we move forward, how the Jewish people are going to help create community by the observance of shared rituals, by the keeping of shared traditions, by the upholding of shared values. Now, do these things change through time a bit? Sure. Do they change depending on what denomination you're a part of? A little, in terms of the understanding of them. But the overlying precept, I think, is the same, is that we as Jewish people for thousands of years have kept sacred, right, certain rituals, certain traditions, certain elements of study and learning that we cherish as a people. And that helps us create those communal bonds, both here and abroad, wherever Jewish life takes place, that we have these shared traditions, shared values, shared rituals in order to create community that are really important. They're really important for a sense of what in Hebrew we say amcha. Amcha is a peoplehood, right? That we have a sense of Jewish peoplehood, identity, cultural, religious, identity that we share with Jews all around the world. But it's more than that in terms of the communal identity, because it's about who we are as a people, but it's also about whose we are as a people. And who's the big who? That would be God, right? That we are a people consecrated to the eternal your God by doing what our Jewish tradition informs us to do, by performing these mitzvot, by performing these sacred obligations. We come closer to God, and it reminds us that we have that special role in the world to be that or the goyim, the light to the nations, to be a people with a certain role, a certain destiny in our world. And we remind ourselves of that whenever we engage in our Jewish traditions, whenever we uphold Jewish values. And in that way, when we do that, we really do live up to that expectation, that understanding, that drive that God wants us to, which is to live as a holy people, right? A light to the nations. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We're going to continue now with Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tekidu la'liot bereshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. We recall loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We remember those who have passed away during this past year. Robert Sand, Lee Benjamin, Jim Shapiro, Mildred Cohn, Sal Spinicia, Vita Felmis, Jay North, Gwen Hirschfield, Maxine Roth, Howard Rubin, Sheldon Ginsberg, Larry Krug, Gene Weissman, Jacob Jack Moshbitz, and Jerry Bender. And we are observing the Yurtzeit this week, the memory of Louis Altman, Madge Auerbach, Anita Benowitz, Blanche Berkowitz, Charlotte Bonner Corwin, Larry Cody, Hoyd J. Cohen, Alvin Edelstein, Alan Bruce Fairstein, Deidre Gilmore, Myrna Jaffe, Sarah Kirby, Doris Klein, Fanny Coronis, Helen Latham, David Lefkowitz, Dina Levin, Betty P. Levy, Robert Newmark, Solomon Reisner, Harry Robert Ripson, Michael Rodetsky, Abraham Russick, Betty Seidman, Ann Silberman, Henry Ira Smiler, Max Teklich, Sam Verona, Alex Vilshik, Lena Weissman, Abraham Zeleny, and Herman Zwerling. I'd like to mention the name of anyone else for Kata. If you can please enter their name into our chat. We remember all of them. The memories of all of them are with us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'alma divra cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam le'olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudisha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, as together we say, Amen.
Amen.
And now it's my pleasure to call our temple president, Nina, to come forward or to unmute herself and to give us a few synagogue announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, Temple B'nai Israel. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Cantor, for the service. It's always nice to listen. I sit outside and we didn't do the song today, but I watched day turn into night. So you've been hearing me for the last month talk about our fundraiser, TBI's Got Talent. And it was last Saturday. And I have to tell you that I was overwhelmed and humbled by the generosity of this congregation. People paying $200 for a $100 gift card just blew my mind. So thank you to everybody who participated. It was a spectacular evening that I certainly won't forget anytime soon. I'm particularly interested on the Shabbats where Rabbi Lobel has offered to let the Rosen family and the Levine family pick the topic of the sermon. We will let you know when that is so everyone can tune in and see how that shakes out. Let's see. Everybody by now has received our letter explaining our decision to have our high holiday services streamed online this year. Part of it will be recorded, part of it will be live. It's being viewed by our clergy team as an opportunity to venture into a new area of worship. And I think the creativity is flowing and we're all going to be floored by the end result. I think it's going to be as good, if not better than previous services we've had when we've all been together. Finally, while everyone is focused on November 3rd election, I want to remind everybody that there is a local election on Tuesday. It's mostly local initiatives on the ballot. There are judges, school board, so everyone can send in their absentee ballot or their vote by mail or swing by their polling place on Tuesday and vote for the candidate of your choice. Next Friday is also going to be the kickoff to our high holiday, so I hope everybody can join us. It's going to start, Rabbi, how is it starting with next Friday? You want to touch on what we're doing next Friday?
I can touch on a couple things, sure. I think that maybe the cantor wants to chime in as well, but we're going to have, I think, a really special week next week. Friday is going to be sort of our kickoff. I think that's a nice word for it. We're going to be celebrating or observing, bringing in the month of Elul, which is a month of introspection and self-reflection, and really beginning, you should be getting some information sooner than later about all the programming that we have for you to help us connect, to engage, to reflect upon the different themes of the high holy days. As Nina had mentioned, we really see this as an opportunity to engage the holidays in a different way. And so, we usually wait until around Slichot to really begin our high holy day programming. Not this year. This year, we're going to be starting off next week to really try to capture the essence, the spirit of the holidays. Cantor, you want to let him in on a couple of other extras?
Yeah, a couple of other extras. You're going to be having a Eliyahu come to your house next Friday. In the form of a member of Temple, and they're going to be bringing you a high holiday gift bag. And in that are going to be lots of the tools that we're going to be using throughout the month to prepare for the holidays, including what we'll be using during services on Friday night. Will be a piece of cloth. We've got a whole program that's going to weave together many ideas. And just we look forward to going through a journey with you. Acknowledging where we are at the beginning and hopefully at the end, finding ourselves internally in a little bit different place, hopefully ready for some of that work of the high holidays, of that internal introspection and change and growth. I don't know about you, but I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to do that personal growth yet. I need to let go of some of the baggage that this time has really deposited on my soul. So I hope you'll join us in that journey. As well, I hope you will join us on Tuesday night for a fantastic concert from Nefesh Mountain just for our community. Something to brighten our week. So that'll be Tuesday evening at 7. And you've got everything else in your inbox. Please read the stuff that comes out. It's got all the details that you'll need, and we're excited to go on this journey. I think we should do some motzi.
I think we should motzi. Thank you, Cantor. Thank you, Nina.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to go into our breakout rooms in just a moment. I still want to mention one additional just thank you to everyone who helped make the event a success. I know Nina had mentioned it, but that fundraiser really was amazing. And so many people put in a lot of work to make it that way. So I really appreciate everyone's great work. And I also wanted to, hopefully not going to embarrass him, but Barry Dabowski, I saw today doing some hard work at the synagogue, painting the cantor's office. And so she's really a mensch, a wonderful thing to do, brightening up her office. Really appreciate that, Barry. And so again, just wanted to thank everyone again for all the great work they do to make our synagogue a Kahila Kadosha, a sacred community, this really warm and welcoming congregation. We're now going to dive into our breakout rooms. You can all unmute yourselves if you would like right now. And then I'll be setting it up in a minute. And away we'll go.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom,
Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
So
Hey,
good to see everybody.
Dinner time. Thanks, Barry.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So you should all have received an invitation, and you got to sort of click on it, and you'll be transported to your own virtual room with some of our other members. It's a good chance to chat a little bit in a smaller group.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Let's go.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Leave is bottom right. Okay.
Hello, hello, everybody.
Hi, Rabbi. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. How are you?
Good. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was okay. Got me out of the house.
Yay!
Out of quarantine. I got out of jail for a couple of days.
I'll tell you, I don't go to the office too often. But like I went today and I was like, yeah, you know what? It's nice to be out of the house for a minute or two.
It is. It was nice to see everybody today, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody was there today. Yeah. Everybody who was there. It was very, very nice, I have to say.
I mean, I
But,
usually live in libraries, this time of year, but now it's like I'm not really doing that. But it's harder to find spaces to write.
Oh, is that right? Oh.
Yeah, because when I'm at home, all the kids are home, obviously, and you've met my boys. They aren't exactly the quietest all the time, so it's hard to sort of find that little quiet spot. We live on a ranch style sort of house, so it's a single level. So, Elizabeth's in her office, and I'm like lying on Ari's bed trying to get work done.
I understand. Did you get rid of your house in Texas yet?
Say again?
Did you have the house in Texas?
Yeah, I mean.
Did you get rid of it?
Oh,
No?
we were renting, so we just it was easy.
Oh, it's easy. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's good.
no, we were just renting. We got
Oh,
to save
that's nice.
equity for such things.
Oh, I see. Well, that's good.
We'll get
That's
there.
good. You will, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, our
Everything
hope
in
is
due
obviously
time.
to be here for a nice long time, maybe buy a house in a couple of years.
I hope so. It was nice seeing the sanctuary for a change lit up today.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, like that's one of the hardest things is just that, like today I was in the sanctuary a little bit with the guys who were helping with the audio, right?
Video, yeah, I saw.
And it's just